So, welcome. Today I've been requested to talk a little bit about inside and outside of the meditation sessions and how these two are different, and how are we to cultivate the mind or the spiritual training outside of the practice and while we are practicing. So I see there are many levels to that, and so we maybe can start with the most simple basic level, which is in which there is the inside and the outside of the meditation practice, and we progress to a level of those who have already a bit more inside. For them there is not an inside and an outside of practice, there is just this moment. So let's start with the first one, where there is an inside and an outside of practice in the time-bound realm. So when we sit down and do our practice, let's say twice daily, one time in the morning and one time in the evening, maybe one time at lunchtime as well. Ideally, you do it as often as possible with only small gaps in between the sessions. It's also fine to do practice like 10 minutes long or 15 minutes long in between, where you are just really stopping everything that you're doing, sit down wherever you are and focus on your breath a little bit. So you just become mindful of your presence, becoming mindful that there is a body, there's the breath, and allowing the body and the mind to settle into this experience a little bit. To do that throughout the day is very helpful. But then there should also be practices, particularly important also in the beginning, to sit down and cultivate sitting still for about an hour. And we can work up to that. So you can sit still in the morning for an hour, you can sit still at nighttime for an hour. That would be ideal. It's a bit like charging your phone. When your phone is low on battery, you plug it in and then it charges and you can use it again. Similarly, is for us also, the mind also needs to be charged. The body also needs to be charged. The body charges when we are resting. We're not moving it and we're relaxing all the muscles. Then the body is resting. Happens at night when we sleep. And the mind is resting when it becomes completely still. So the mind is also, it is not moving. Really, it is charging. Now, how is that charge of the mind expressed? I've mentioned it several times already. It is expressed as happiness. If the mind is well charged, if the mind is energetic, then it is a happy mind. If the mind is not charged, it is an unhappy mind. Okay? So it is important to charge, to sit down and to practice in stillness, to really get used to deep meditation practice. To have a so-called formal session every day. Now in that formal session we are cultivating mostly samatha, which is calm abiding. So that means you are basically stabilizing the mind. That's what we just did in this meditation practice. We are bringing the mind to a single object and then we keep it there. We allow it to rest into this object until it slowly starts to unify with this object. So in this practice we are building energy for our day-to-day life. So it is very necessary. If we don't have that, there is hardly any practice in between the sessions. I've tried it many times to go through my day-to-day life without any meditation session. It doesn't really work like this. There has to be something that frames your day. Best is 2 sessions per day in a busy lifestyle. Of course, if you're living in a monastery or in a spiritual community where you have lots of time for practice, then you want to practice as often as possible. But for a person that has a job, a family, so-called normal kind of lifestyle, a non-monastic lifestyle, it is important to sit down as often as you can, maybe twice daily at best. Even once a day is already good. Mm-hmm. In between the session, so when you are going about your daily life, your routines, your habits, you go to work, you want to bring in more mindfulness in general. It's a very simple practice. Try to make kind of an appointment with yourself. So the next time I am walking, I want to just only walk, for example. Or each time when I open a door, I want to establish mindfulness. Or each time I talk with another person, I want to know that I'm talking. So you create an intention. And that intention then, it becomes more and more strong. There's a strong wish also for practice to grow. We all want to be happy. Nobody wants to be unhappy, and nobody wants to experience suffering. And the key to that happiness is more mindfulness. So we're not going through life in a kind of an autopilot mode, but we're going through life while knowing what we are doing, knowing how the mind is, knowing how the body is, knowing how the situation is, getting in touch with life. So you want to aim for more and more moments and build that power, that strength every day. And take it easy, do it slowly. So many people, they want fast results, and they kind of push, they want it too fast. So they say, okay, I want to be mindful for the whole day in between my sessions. This will not be possible. You're setting yourself up for failure like this. Or I want to be mindful every single time I walk. Also, that will not be possible. Maybe you can start out simply by trying to be mindful once a day. Trying to remember to be present once a day in between the sessions. If you can do that, you go to twice. Until you can do that 2 times in between the session, you become more and more mindful. And then naturally you will notice that there's a tendency that's growing, that you become more and more mindful. There are more moments during the day of actually waking up. That's what we want. At first it's very humble practice. Suddenly you become mindful while you're eating. Suddenly you notice, oh, I'm here and I'm eating. And it tastes like this. Or suddenly you become mindful while you're angry. Get angry, but suddenly there's mindfulness also kicking in, noticing, oh, there is anger. And anger is like this. So this is how it kicks in more and more. You start to notice yourself more, to wake up to yourself more. And in each time when you're waking up, you notice that you have a choice. You're not anymore reacting to life, but now you're kind of in a space where you have a choice. Am I going to react to that or not? Is it beneficial to react or not? How should I react? For example, when you see your enemy comes down the street and it starts offending you, this guy starts offending you, points finger at you and says, "Are you again? I want to talk with you right now." Usually if you react, if there is no mindfulness, there is immediate defensiveness, there is anger. Oh my God, this guy again. I have to go somewhere else now. I have to tell him I have no time, I have very important appointments, something like that. That would be an automatic reaction. But if you have mindfulness, you notice, aha, here's an opportunity for growth. Here's an opportunity to practice patience, to relax, to maybe even try to be a bit more kind to that person or understanding, to grow your human beneficial qualities, which is a wonderful thing to do. You have this kind of choice if there is mindfulness, first of all. As a rule of thumb, I would say, in between sessions, when you are walking, then just walk. Make that your practice. When you are lying down, then just lie down. When you are standing, then just stand. And when you are sitting, just sit. So how can we achieve that? Well, you have to be mindful of your body. If I say, be mindful, then what should I be mindful of? What is the best object? It is the body. That's how we start. We become aware of the body. So while you're walking, you try to go through step 1, 2, and 3. Noticing that there is the body, relaxing the body, step 1. Step 2, just feeling the body in the present moment. Each step you feel it. And step 3 is there's no narrative, no inner talk. So in that way, you're becoming more and more silent. There's just the walking body. And it is experienced directly, quietly. So here you are not really losing energy, actually. Well, when you walk and you think about your destination, you're losing energy. And if you're thinking about your destination and it is coupled with stressful emotions, you're even losing much more energy. And it doesn't change the fact that you don't know what will happen. We don't know what will happen. We don't know how we will feel in 10 minutes' time. We don't know what will come into our being, into our head, into our thoughts in 10 minutes. And we don't need to know. We can simply rest in the awareness of the body right now, right here, as we walk, stand, sit, or lie down. Makes life much more simple. And you deal with problems as they arise. You're not dealing with problems way ahead, but you're dealing with them as they arise in life. As something approaches you, then you respond to it with mindfulness also, with kindness. And you'll notice that your life becomes gradually more and more simple. There's less and less noise in the head. We're not living our life through a mental story, through a mental construct anymore, through this drama, the theater play in our head. But we are living life directly. That deepens then into the realization that you're not even living life, you are life. There is just life. There's no more doer of life. This is the deepening process that happens, but we have to start somewhere. For example, right now, as we are in this room all together, can you feel that the body is sitting? The body sits. Now, paying attention to that feeling, you will feel a certain energy, a buzzing in the body, the feeling of life. You notice that? Simply the knowledge that the body is alive right now. And being alive, or a body that is alive, feels like this. And then slowly drop all commentary. Just receive the body in this silence. You do that while walking, while sitting, standing, and lying down. As often as possible. And then each time you wake up, then stay in that awakened state. Take a bath in it. Swim in it. Swim in your silence. Swim in mindfulness. And you'll notice that life becomes less burdensome like that. It's not a burden anymore. It becomes more light, more bearable. Also, what you will notice is that basically all problems are something created in the head. Apart from that, there is not really any problem. Apart from thinking. There are still situations, but it's not problematic anymore. It's just a situation. And as you're mindful and present, that situation is not an issue anymore. It's just unfolding. Life is just taking its turns. And it's fine, it's fine. You're out of the way. You're not fighting with life anymore in your head. But you're very available. And as I said, this practice is deepening then. It comes into a level where you will notice more and more that this idea of my practice in the morning and my practice in the evening, I need to practice more, I should add more hours to it. All of that is also a story in your head. And all you really have is this moment. And it even deepens further into the realization that you're not even having this moment. But there is just this moment. Nobody entering it, nobody leaving it. It's not owned by anyone, this moment. There's no owner of this moment. No manager of this moment. There's no boss of this moment. There's no enterer and no leaver. And so gradually your spiritual practice is deepening. And as it deepens, there is a healing process happening. Like when you have a sky that is full of clouds and the clouds are slowly blown away by the wind, more and more, then the sun that is always there is revealing itself. Similarly, the more clutter we are letting go of, the more unnecessary tension we are allowing to melt in our life, we're dropping away, the more clear it becomes that your most natural state is very happy and joyful. And happiness is nothing that has to be created. It is your natural state. Like a sunny sky, it doesn't have to be created. The sky is naturally a sunny sky. You don't have to add anything to it. You are naturally a happy being. It is just as long as we are holding on to stuff, we are heavy. As long as everything is sticking to this individual, to this personalized being, to the walking story, everything sticks to it, gets accumulated, and the heavier it becomes. The more future we have, the more past we have, the more heavy life is experienced. And the more burdensome it becomes. Oh, what will happen with me? I hope I can make it. Are there better times ahead? All these are statements of misery. They're statements of lack. They're statements of fear. They're not statements of fullness and satisfaction and happiness and joy. I hope it will get better. I hope this meditation thing will work. Who is talking there? What kind of condition is talking through your being? Is it fear? Is it hope? Is it love? Is it kindness? Is it compassion? What kind of condition is now expressed in your beingness? You can find out, you just look. So to make it really short and simple, I would say practice seated meditation, formal sessions twice daily, if you can, or at least once daily. Work up so you can sit up to an hour in stillness, not moving the body, but keeping it still. And then in between those sessions, keep waking up. Now, why would we wake up? Obviously, there is something that we need to want. If there is no wanting, if you're not really passionate about it, to say that, you will not do anything. Most people on this planet are not interested in meditation, not really interested in meditation. There might be some kind of superficial interest. Yeah, oh, that's kind of interesting. The mind is interested in it. It has some more information there. And it reads a few articles about it. Wow, that's pretty good. I should do it. And then it kind of vanishes away in everyday activities. Mostly if you have a lot of joyful activities, if you do a lot of things that are fulfilling you, that feel good, then seemingly there is no need for any spiritual practice. We feel like, okay, life is going well, I have enough money, I have no problems in life, and so there is no desire to go deeper. So we are kind of happy on the surface. We're not diving deep into life. There is no interest in it. Why would I? I am happy. I hear that many, many times. People say, well, I'm quite happy. Why would I meditate? I'm doing well. And then there are those people who have a lot of trouble in their life. They're feeling stressed out, it's too much work, they don't like what they do, they just divorce, or someone they loved very much just passed away, and there's sort of this kind of seeking there. What can I do to get out of my pain? These people are much more likely to turn within, to look at themselves. Much more likely. However, also the majority then still would turn to like a quick fix, to get drunk or to kind of vent it in the gym or something like that. So we're turning to external methods to get a short-term relief, which only lasts as long as it takes for the pain to become visible again, in the form of nightmares, insomnia, tension in the body, like that. If there is this constant kind of stress going on, then we usually have a bit more, an impulse to go within, to turn within. Yes. You can come in. So there's more an impulse to turn it inwards. We're not busy with toys. If we have a lot of toys, then it's very tempting to play with toys all the time. We don't look at the one who plays. We're busy playing. So in a way, suffering can be a great blessing. It can help us to see what is really essential in life, what is really important in life. If we are contemplating our future and we think, oh, where will I go? What will I do? Then I recommend to answer that question always with the same answer. Where will I go? Here's this answer. You will go to a place where there is your name written on a little stone. Hello? That's where we will go. Your name written on a little stone with a date below it. That's the destination. We don't really need to know more. Where are we running? So many people are so incredibly busy running here, running there. If we would just be a little bit more aware of the destination, the only thing that we actually know about the future, then much of the running would fall away and there would be more living. But because we are so lost in the dream and in the dream subjects and objects that we do not recognize, we are caught up like this. So that's why it's so important to cultivate mindfulness, to wake up, to realize that life is now. It is not something that is going to be happening later. Ever. Even some people, even during their last breath, they're still looking forward to the next destination. They're still not here. They have still not arrived. Still looking for the next thing. Some are scared, some are happy. But it's very rare indeed for people to be. There's lots of doing. There's no doubt a lot of doing, which is all based on the sense of lack. All the doing is based on a sense of lack. I need to do so I can be. That's the idea of doing. Actually, the other way around would be a little bit more wholesome for this planet. I need to be so I can do. If our actions come out of a state of completeness, of fullness, of presence, they're far more beneficial than when they are coming out of lack or fear or worries or doubts. You can witness that for yourself. Every time you're in a positive state, in a happy state, feeling fulfilled, feeling good, then your actions are also much more uplifting. Your presence becomes much more of a blessing than when you're in an angry, unsatisfied, unhappy state. So since every living being desires happiness and well-being, and absolutely nobody wants to suffer, then I think it's only fair to really ask that question, well then where can I find happiness? True happiness. Happiness that does not leave with conditions. Happiness that doesn't have to be created. Happiness that does not take time. That's why we make an effort to find this, to dig for the real gold of life, which is so close that we're overlooking it all the time for the sake of some fake gold, which is not even there, which is supposed, it's kind of the promised land. It'll come later. Once I get the relationship, once I get the job, then. Once I'm retired, then. Once I got this all in order, then. Once I meditate more, then. Like that. As long as we're falling for that one, we're never really happy. So ideally you want to work up to a state where you are staying in this moment. You're not leaving that moment anymore. That's the goal. For you, all the fiction of life, namely all future and past, have vanished. This is enlightenment. You clearly see through the fiction. You see through the dream. That's why it's also called awakening. Once you see this absolutely clearly, without a doubt, there is no turning back. You know what's fiction and you know what's truth. So for you there, suffering is about to find a complete ending. It's just a matter of time until all the last kind of bits of stories are completely exhausted and fall away. That then is full enlightenment. So you know yourself. We can't know other people, but we can know ourselves. We all can know ourselves. We see, is there suffering? Is there tension? Is there stress? Do I feel separate from everything else? Yep, then there is still work to be done. Do I feel like I am life, or do I still feel like I'm doing life? If you feel like you am life, you are life, then you can put it to the test. Put yourself into an uncomfortable situation. Are you still life? Usually life will do these tests for you. Once you feel like, okay, now there's stability, I know what I'm doing, I am enlightened and all this kind of stuff, it'll be put to the test. Life will appear with challenges to see, for you to reflect. Are you really beyond suffering? Are you really in the moment? If so, there is no problem. If not in the moment, then you still hope to find yourself in the later. So we start very simple. Feel the body right now. There's not even the need to assume a fancy posture to feel the body. Sometimes they say, okay, now feel your body, and everyone goes like... You don't have to. You don't have to make any fancy postures. You can just feel the body like this. Still feeling it. See, whatever posture you make, you're still feeling it. It's still there. You walk, you go to the bathroom, you eat your food, you can feel. And then drop the storyline, the narrative, and get really in touch with what you're doing. For a spiritual practitioner, everything is practice. Some people only practice one thing in their life. I practice cooking, or I practice seated meditation, but they don't practice anything else. But ideally everything is practice. Whatever we're doing, for example, me sitting here right now talking to you, is practice. It is practice. Am I here as a listener, or am I here as a talker? Am I aware that there is talking going on? Can I maintain that awareness? That's what it's all about. This is what we are actually learning from also, from this deep sense of awareness, from this stillness. It gives you answers, it teaches you. Best teacher. Okay, so I think this is enough for today.